Welcome to Pub Politics. Rick is here along with Wes Donahue on the Republican side, back from an excursion to overseas, I guess.
Yeah, Istanbul.
That's right. Checking out future locations for Pub Politics
Yes,
in Turkey. Phil, consistent on the Democratic side.
Constant,
He's always here.
constant.
All right, guys, we've talked about voter ID before, but let's bring it up again.
I mean, like half the segments.
It's been a couple of weeks since we last talked about voter ID. This week, an important deadline for the state. Just some quick background. South Carolina passed voter ID. The federal government didn't like it. So in turn, South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson sued the federal government because obviously the state, on his side, wants this voter ID law to be in effect. So this week was a deadline. These federal judges who are studying this case wanted to hear from A.G. Wilson and the state saying, okay, we need to know, can voter ID be implemented in time for November? There's a lot of people that would have to get IDs. There's a process of education on how this would work, how voters, what would they have to do. So I guess just real quick, it's still about 6 months away from the election, from November, West. Would you see a problem in trying to implement voter ID if it was, say, passed today? Approved today.
I don't see why not. Of course, Phil will say otherwise, but really all you have to do is educate these people. I mean, spend probably about $500,000 of state money. Yeah, it sucks. We got to spend that money, but that's what we're going to have to do. Educate these people, tell them how to get IDs, but there's not a lot of roadblocks for these people to actually get IDs. So yeah, absolutely. I don't see why it couldn't be done in 6 months. I don't see why it couldn't be done in 3 months.
Phil, your rebuttal to that?
You're looking at over 200,000 people in South Carolina who are registered to vote, who are currently legally voting, who do not have the proper form of ID. That's a lot of folks. And if you say that there's no hurdles to jump over, I disagree. Folks have to go get copies of their birth certificate from their local DHEC office. That's $25 to get a copy of that. I mean, that's essentially a poll tax. I really wouldn't trust Attorney General Wilson to give accurate information. He's still running around lying about 900 dead people voting in South Carolina. So it has got problems written all over it.
Someone's going to have to rule on this eventually. I mean, in your best guess, best estimate, knowing how this stuff works, will voter ID be in South Carolina implemented by this coming November's election? If you had to guess today, right now.
No. No, I mean, the Democrats have done a good job being roadblocks. The Obama administration is doing everything they can to fight this. Now you see even Karl Rove coming and saying South Carolina could be a swing state. Mitt Romney Super PAC actually came into South Carolina. They're spending money. But my point is, as long as South Carolina is seen as a swing state, I think Obama's going to do everything he can to stop voter ID from happening.
And the further away this comes from happening, the happier Democrats are, Phil.
Well, I mean, this thing, it's a law that doesn't need to be there. There's no examples of voter fraud out there. It's a solution in search of a problem.
I'll be honest with you. I was driving to work today, and I said this aloud. I have no dog in this fight, but I said aloud, you know, considering how some of the people here drive, it can't be that hard to get a license in this town. But that was independent of political stuff. One more thing. It was a big week, guys, last week in a Senate subcommittee as the senators just start to debate the budget. And one of these budget rules that was passed as a part of it was this abortion proviso, where taxpayers and state employees would not pay for abortions in case of rape or incest. It would still be covered if the life of the mother was in danger, but not rape or incest. I don't want to really relitigate, pro-choice, pro-life, all that, but why, Wes, did senators want to put something involving abortion into a budget bill? Is it really a situation where they see a chance to save some money, or do they want to relitigate the abortion fight here in this budget bill?
It's in the budget because, I mean, it's state money going to pay, when it comes to health care. This is one of the toughest issues that'll ever come up. I mean, some people just firmly believe that life begins at conception, and that if the state's paying for abortion, they are paying for murder.
Right.
The Democrats will say, why make a victim go through that? A lot of Republicans will say the baby is the victim. This is such a tough issue because there is no winner, there's only losers.
Yeah, and in fact, Senator Brad Hutto from Orangeburg, who I know you're very close with, Phil, even said that you're penalizing victims a second time.
We really are. I mean, rape, incest, life of the mother. I mean, this is essentially the Hyde Amendment. Representative Hyde, a Republican congressman, who came up with this language, these exceptions. And if this passes, South Carolina would be in violation of federal law. So it's got a bunch of problems written all over it. This is just an election year shenanigans by Senator Kevin Bryant of Anderson. He does this every year. He's got a primary opponent, so there's a lot of chest pounding going on right now, but that's about it.
Well, you know, he talks about a solution in search of a problem, and that's it. Why are we have money in there funding something that hardly ever happens anyway? The Democrats like to throw up, oh, there's only been, you know, one instance in the past 5 years. Well, why are we paying for something? Why is there even a proviso for money for instances that really never happen anyway?
It is a standard part of anyone's medical insurance policy.
Well, maybe it shouldn't be.
All right. Well, and that's another debate. I mean, this is, yeah, you're right. It's one of the toughest things.
Yeah, it is.
It's a debate where, like you said, it's tough to have winners
Yeah.
in a situation like this. Guys, thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
you.
All right, back to you.